Welcome to Risky Conversations. Why? Because everything that's worthwhile is on the other side of a risky conversation. And I'm so delighted. I'm so happy to have two amazing women who happen to be sisters. And I've had plenty of risky conversations one-on-one with both of them. Okay, I had one risky conversation with Beth and several risky conversations with SJ. We're kind of bending the rules here, defining what a risky conversation is. But welcome to the podcast, Beth Nichols and SJ Crawford. They also are the hosts, co-hosts of a wonderful new podcast called Misinformation. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Misinformed.
There you go. I say it wrong all the time.
And I always have to fix it. And it's okay.
It's okay. It's
Sometimes we're
misinformed.
misinformed.
Yes. I forget. What do I call it? I call it like I get it wrong every time. It's okay. Yeah, it's called
Okay.
misinformed. You should listen to it. It's super fun and silly and casual.
I love that. I was listening to it. I'm like, I want to be adopted. I want to be adopted by these two sisters. I want
How
to be
about you
part.
adopt us? Because I don't know that you want to be adopted.
Okay, I will adopt you. More than
Perfect.
happy.
Thanks, Mom.
She's not that old, Beth. Come
I know.
on.
She was young.
I look young for my age. I'm 43. I
I'm
am
40,
not,
so
yeah,
we're
no one's
actually
old enough to be
twins.
anyone's mothers here.
Exactly.
SJ is my coaching client, and Beth is someone I had a consultation with because SJ
Yes.
was gracious and kind enough to refer me to her beloved sister. And that was a wonderful conversation. And Beth, I've been thinking about you because
Oh.
it was one of those conversations. I mean, I make offers for my free hour-long consultations all the time. And at least one out of three consultation I have, I'm like, I cannot make an offer to this person because it just would not be the right thing for me to do. It would be unconscionable. And the reason why I thought that with you, Beth, we had a great conversation, but
Mhm.
ultimately I didn't say, let's work together, is because I knew that I knew like at one point you are someone that Martha Beck, a life coach, calls you're a tribe person. Do you know who Martha Beck
Hmm.
is?
I've heard the name,
No.
don't know it well enough to comment.
Martha Beck is a world-renowned life coach.
Okay.
Hmm.
She used to write the monthly column in O magazine for Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
And she's also got multiple Harvard degrees, like super smart, smart as heck. And she's written amazing books. And she describes in one of my favorite books written by Martha Beck, she talks about the tribe. The tribe are the people who, like, we know we're supposed to be, excuse me, I'm gonna say it, healers.
Hmm. Totally get it. It's cool. I would have been a witch in a different time.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm like, I know she's supposed to be one of us. And most and I'm like, and whenever I encounter people like that, I'm like, what do I tell them? Because I help I help women get promoted and better paid in the corporate world. And I think SJ described it as business Barbie. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
called her Business Barbie because Beth joined a conversation with you, Jamie, because Beth's been kind of, and I'm gonna speak for Beth like I
That's
always do,
fine.
um, as a sister. No, Beth has been fighting, in my opinion, her like this natural like force from the outside to be business Barbie. Like that's what she should be. That's where it's felt like that's what she's supposed to do as a professional woman is be business Barbie who is doing things frankly the way I'm doing them. And
Not as
that's
good, but I'm doing them.
no. Well, you were doing them just like so unhappily.
Yes.
And when I sent her to Jamie, I was like, I just think you need somebody who's not me and who's not your husband because I'm risk. What's the opposite of risk averse? Risk delighted?
Taking
Risk delighted. I love it.
risk
Risk
delighted.
delighted.
Risky. I tend to take riskier steps, and Beth's husband is very conservative and not politically, but uh, life-wise, he tends to take
Hmm.
the more conservative path. So I was like, you need to go talk to somebody who has no skin in the game. And when Beth finished talking with Jamie, she was like, the way she was
So I'm
expressing it,
changing my career.
she was just kind of bummed at first. She was like, I don't
Yeah.
feel like Jamie thinks I should be business Barbie. And I was like, well, of course not. You're not Business
Okay, so I
Barbie.
wasn't disappointed that you didn't want me to be Business Barbie. I was a little bummed that you were saying exactly what I needed to hear. And it would have been way better for my brain that had been pushing me to be Business Barbie if you had agreed with that, because that path is a little more clear than what my heart and my soul probably need to be doing. And what Sarah like pins me to the wall saying, you're not doing the thing that you're really good at. And I'm like, but my brain is saying that this would be a more clear option. And Jamie did the same thing where she was like, it sounds like you need to have more fun. And I was like,
Yeah.
damn it. Why are people still trying to get me to have fun?
Well,
And
she
I
was
was just,
Yeah.
Jamie. Jamie was the third party who was like didn't know you before, didn't know you
Mhm.
from Adam, didn't have any reason. I mean, she could have tried to sell you on it, but like
and
you
I
should work with me.
appreciated her honesty. I mean, okay, first of all, I think SJ would have found any reason in my life to have me talk with Jamie Lee because she just loves you so much and she talked about you for months. And I was like, she sounds amazing. My career's going under right now. I don't think it's a good time. But then the moment she saw an opportunity, she's like, talk to Jamie. Have you set up a time with Jamie yet? Have you set up a time? So I finally set up a time. And I was like, hi, Jamie. I don't know that I'm your best client. But Jamie, you were so honest and upfront, but you were like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna try to sell you on something, but you got me. I'm in. Let's talk. And I appreciated that honesty so much. And I found myself saying something in our conversation that's kind of like rumbled around in my mind ever since. I said, um, what boring thing do I have to do before I can do the fun thing? And you
Mm.
repeated that to me. And I was like, oh no. Like, that's inside me. Like that's what's actually happening inside my mind because objectively, I don't like the sound of that coming out of anybody else's mouth. But if that's something I've been harboring and believing, I don't want that to be true either. So it was just a really good conversation that got us started talking through, more parts of Beth than just Business Barbie.
We'll get to Business Barbie because Business Barbie is a lot of fun and amazing and incredible. We want to learn more. I want to dissect Business Barbie, but before we do that, what happened after our conversation? Because I'm going to be totally honest with this is the risky part of my conversation. I'm like, is SJ gonna be upset with me because I didn't try to tell I didn't try to sell her on coaching. Like I'm like, did I disappoint my favorite client? I was like a little bit nervous because I didn't know how it was gonna be received. I'm like, this feels risky. Like I'm gonna be honest. But anyways, that's me. But I'm curious for you, Beth, what happened after our conversation for you?
Yeah. So after our conversation, I did some journaling, honestly, because I was feeling bummed and I was feeling a lot of insecurities and they were overwhelming me. And I thought, I don't want insecurity to not be the reason why. Well, actually, first I did a Marco Polo to Sarah. This is app we use where we talk to each other and it's a video so we don't talk over each other and we can listen to one another. So I sent her this long like heartfelt. I hadn't even talked to my husband about it because it felt so personal that I was like, I don't feel like I can be vulnerable with anybody with this right now. It's too scary. And so I did a Marco Polo to her because she couldn't interrupt me or talk to me about it back, and I could just talk. And she got on. She's like, Beth, you know what you have to do. And I was like, no, I really don't. Tell me more. And she was like, you need to go
Okay,
back to being a therapist. And I
Beth, hold
mean,
on.
this
I
was
did
not the
say
dialogue.
first. I said, with all the love in the world, are you stupid?
Yeah, that's right.
With all the
Are
love
you
in the world.
actually stupid?
And
Wait,
I was like, go ahead, Jamie.
I'm gonna give a quick plug to the podcast Misinformed. You have to go listen to episode 8, Dog Catchers and Dream Jobs, where right? I love the
Yes, that's
title.
exactly right.
And
Exactly.
Beth and SJ sort of, rehash the story, they tell the story,
Yeah.
there's more background because we learned that Beth used to uh, be in the process of becoming a play therapist.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That play therapist would be like a mental health therapist, but doing it sounds ridiculous when you say it, or if somebody doesn't know what it means, like play therapy, like you can get paid to play with children. Yes, actually, there's a lot of magic there, and I could probably tangent on it for a while, but I won't do that here. But Sarah basically was like, "Are you stupid? Like I love you, but
I
like you're
love
being really
you.
stupid." And I was like, "Okay, okay, okay." She's like, you need to pursue this." And I was like, "Okay." So that got out there. So now somebody else on this planet knows. So now I've got two people that are encouraging this. So I got out my journal and I just wrote down like all the things that I was worried about, what ifs, all of my what ifs, my insecurities, the things that I don't understand or that are confusing to me or intimidating, all of it. And a lot of what had come up, even with talking with you, Jamie, was what are people going to think? And I hate that that was something that I was concerned about and worried about. I hate that because I've spent most of my life thinking that I was an outsider anyway. So, like, who cares what people think? But I also have spent a lot of time trying to be mainstream. So, to have all of a sudden my LinkedIn look different, or if I was pursuing toys or talking about playing. I mean, I've got toys on my desk right now. I don't know why this was intimidating to me. It's part of who I am, but it just that was in my head. And so I went through all of those and I was like, okay, I got that out. Let's find out what I need to do to make this happen. And what I thought were going to be these huge mountains that I had to climb and pull myself over ended up just being like little speed bumps. And I was like, oh, I feel silly. And so
Love
since
that.
then, I have my license back active. It only took me a couple of weeks. I will need to have supervision for a couple of years, but I'm working on getting that set up. I've got my therapist license, insurance. I have a gig already lined up. I'll be doing play therapy at a private practice down the street from me. She has the play therapy rooms and everything, all the toys. I've already interviewed with her. And I'm going to be starting on August 3rd, 13th. Sorry, not 3rd. That was yesterday. August 13th. I'm
Oh
due
my
to start there.
God. This is the most successful failed sales call I've had.
Ever, ever. Jamie, that's like your success rate just skyrocketed. One session, unpaid, has a new career.
You just need
Doesn't
Done.
more
you?
stupid clients.
Right, because Beth came to me because she's like, I think I need to go back to being a, was it like project management? You were doing,
Yes, I have my PMP.
right. And I'm like, but
Okay,
you're not having any fun. And your
okay, I want to add
body, yeah,
more
go ahead.
context to this because part of the big reason I sent Beth to Jamie and I hadn't done it previously was because Beth had applied to, was it 150 jobs?
118, I think.
It was insane. And if you asked like all the things, like have you had AI read it? Have you talked to a coach? Have you talked to like all of the like a job resume person? Like all these things. And Beth was like, yes, yes, yes. She had done everything you were supposed to do, and it still wasn't working. And when I was job hunting and working with Jamie at that time, I told Jamie, I was like, I hate applying for jobs. And Jamie said, then stop. And I was like, ooh, scandalous, risky. Um, it ended up working for me. So when Beth said, like, I'm doing all of this, and I'm like, oh, it's not working, then you should stop. And Beth was like, what? What else would I
Okay,
do?
now who's stupid in this room?
I was like, you should stop. And she was like, what else would I do? And I was like, I honestly think you need to. Because what I wanted to say at that time was like, I think you need to do something you actually want to do. I didn't say that because I was like, I don't think you're ready to hear that from me. Because again, I'm the person who quits her job and starts her own business without really thinking about it too hard. So I was like, I can't be the one to like kind of push you in this direction. And even honestly, from what I heard of your conversation with Jamie, Jamie didn't really push you in any direction.
No.
She was like, why do you think everything has to be unfun? Like, if you want more fun, Beth, you should have more fun. And that was really all. I mean, I'm sure you said other things, but that was like the big takeaway. Was
Mhm.
like, you don't have to do this stuff you hate. And Beth was like, no, 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 I must hate everything I do at work.
I must be in some kind of pain for life to be good.
And we're taught that. We're
Mhm.
taught to believe that to be the truth, especially in our sort of, America. We're all in America here, and we have like this puritanical influence in our education system. So we're taught that like hard work, keeping your head down, doing good work, sacrificing yourself, especially if you're a woman, right?
Oh
That's
yeah.
how you get liked. That's how you are safe. That's how you get acknowledged and told that you're good. And so
Yes.
we're just turning that on its head because we think by doing the hard and unfun things, we'll somehow get to a fun place as if, that's the afterlife. But I'm like, but what if there is
True.
no afterlife and how we get there actually defines and shapes our journey, and our journey is the experience we want to live into, right? Like, what if the
Mhm.
journey matters?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So,
And it's terrifying though, because I remember in college talking to my friends, you're youngest, you're the most irresponsible, you know the least amount in your life, and you're supposed to make the biggest decisions of your life when you're the least prepared. I remember always saying that. I'm the least prepared I've ever been, and I have to make the biggest decisions of my life. And I had friends that'd be like, I know what my goal is, but I don't know the steps. And I was like, I don't know steps or goals. Like, what is the next thing in front of me? How do you guys know these things? And honestly, like the business sector, just getting a job and doing a job that you can do or that you are good at, even if you don't like it, is a step. And so it's like, well, I didn't know what step to take, so I just took that step and kept taking steps until I'm down, this is where midlife crisis come from. You're down all of these steps and you still don't know what your goal is. You don't know where you're going, but you know you've taken these steps. You don't know what the next step is, but you're sure it'll pop up at some point, but at least you can go on vacation. Like it's just a very stumbling through life way of living. And that's really what I've done.
As have I. I was listening to your podcast, again, episode 8 of Misinformed, season 1, Dog Catchers and Dream Jobs. I just love the title so much. And Beth, I could so relate to you because it was you who said you were thinking about you had a dream of becoming a jazz singer,
Oh yeah, I wanted to be a singer.
right? I wanted to be a jazz singer in
That's
college.
amazing. Oh, they were
Yes.
training me to be an opera singer, and I was like, I'm really good at this. It's one of those, everyone around me thinks I'm really good at this. Should I do it? And then I'm like, that one's kind of hard. I don't know that I can do opera my whole life, but I really do enjoy people being happy with me.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Yeah.
say no.
But
But
I
I'm
could still relate to
like,
that.
I would love to be a singer. Nothing would bring me greater joy than to be on stage, and I didn't get any of the singing chops. So,
The irony of
congrats.
Sarah and I's existence is just rich because she loves performing, being in front of people, get a room going, or I would really prefer to be in the corner, but I actually can do well on the stage, so
She
it's
has
amazing.
pipes. Jamie, now that I know that you wanted to be a jazz singer, you're gonna have to sing for me sometime.
So, SJ, you have this beautiful, youthful glow about you today. And I just can't help wonder if that's because you got some skin treatments while you were on a business trip as, American Business Barbie in South Korea. Could we
Yes,
talk about that, please? Could we talk
I
about
would love to. So I am glowing. I ended up getting, so I went to South Korea, Seoul specifically,
where I
for a
was
work trip.
born? I was
I didn't
born
know
in
you were
Seoul,
born.
South Korea. Yeah,
I did
I
not
was,
know you were born in Seoul.
yeah, that's my birth
Oh,
city.
it's amazing.
Makes you
It's
makes you
incredible.
way cooler than us for sure.
But I had very little to do with SJ going to South Korea. So I want SJ to tell her story. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So
yeah.
I got a new job. It's the company started in Seoul, South Korea. Most of my team is in Seoul. So they invited me out for a like kind of like an onboarding like kickoff. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done. Whenever I got back, I called Beth and I said, "I'm one of the bravest people I know," which is my way of saying that was so scary. But I did it. But it was an incredible experience. I spent a lot of time working, so I didn't get to explore quite as much as I wanted. But I did make it to a K-beauty store called Olive Young and bought everything basically. Like I was just like grabbing stuff off the shelves. I gave Beth some Korean SPF yesterday.
Wearing it now.
Yeah, it's the glow, and that's where my glow is coming from is all my Korean skincare. I didn't get a facial treatment. I got a scalp treatment.
What?
Yes.
What is that?
I know, right? It was like an hour and a half of them like cleaning my scalp because us Westerners don't apparently clean our scalp correctly. And she like took these really close-up pictures of my scalp and then she cleaned the dickens out of it and then took them again and it looked totally different. Um, Apparently we have like harder water. It was fascinating. It was amazing. But I also stayed in the Gangnam district where all the plastic surgery offices are. So I got to see that whole like societal movement. It was so interesting. Everybody in my hotel had some kind of bandage on their face. And I was like, oh wow. But yeah, it was such a cool, like now I'm recommending people go to South Korea. Having never been to any other Asian country, I'm like, I think it's the best one.
I
They
really
were
did not
very,
pay you to say that.
really? No, they were so everybody was so receptive of because I've been to other countries where like they're kind of annoyed that you're not speaking their language. Everybody was so kind. Everybody. There wasn't a single person who was like annoyed with my like very broken Korean hello. And it was just so delightful. in that way because I'd been to Iceland before and they would just stare at me like, why aren't you speaking Icelandish to me? But yeah, it was really good.
I'm so
Jet
glad you
lag.
had a good
Jet lag was
time.
rough. I did.
Yeah.
Survived. And I made it there
Yeah.
and I made it back and no one died. And that's what's important.
That's what's most important. We all survived.
It's kind of a
I
weird
was scared.
bar to have, but I'm glad you
I
hit
was
it.
so nervous, you guys. I had to fly over an ocean. I had to get on a bus. I had to get in a hotel. Whew.
And you didn't know any of the language. Like all of the letters are different symbols. So I was very impressed with that. Because
There's a
I've
lot of English
done
everywhere.
some international flights before, but it always to countries that are English adjacent. You did the real deal. You did the real traveling.
I did.
And it's kind of strange as a Korean American person because I left Korea when I was very young. It was Christmas 1989, so you can do the math. And
Taylor Swift had just been born.
exactly. And the country has evolved and developed so rapidly. You know, the Korea that I have in the Seoul that I remember does not exist. You know, it just exists in
Wow.
my imagination because
Hmm.
it's been completely redeveloped, remade and connected with high-speed internet and all of that. You know, they have the fastest
Yes.
high-speed internet I read somewhere, and they also have the highest rate of plastic surgery and
Uh-huh.
this unhappy statistics. But yeah, it's like I'm listening
It's
to you. I'm like,
different.
yeah, I'm like she's talking about a foreign country. They still speak the same language that I know, but it's a completely
Yeah.
different world.
On the
Yeah.
note of the plastic surgery thing, I've always been kind of interested in why people from South Korea tend to do it at a higher rate. And I spoke with one of my coworkers actually, and I was like, "Hey, like, tell me about what it's like to raise kids here." Like, we were just sitting around talking, and the way he shared it was that it's such a well-educated country that by the time you graduate high school, the next way to be competitive, because everyone is so well educated, is that being beautiful is now your competitive
Oh my
advantage.
God.
Yes, and so like for high school, high schoolers like graduation presents are cosmetic surgery so they can stand out. And like that is it's not because I think some people are like, oh, it's just vanity, like everyone wants to be beautiful. Like in a lot of cases, it's parents thinking this is the best way they can set their kids up for like a good life, which is it's very similar to the American experience of like we
Hmm.
do things to try to set our kids up for good
They're
lives. And
just
so
more
that's why,
overt about it.
yeah, they're just like, well, we'll just fix your face. And so
The
everyone's
one
walking
we
around.
made, we can improve.
Yes. And so it was just very interesting to come from like a place of competition and a place of trying to compete. And I was like, I can relate to that a lot. And I can
Mhm.
see that. Like it made a lot of sense to me as somebody who also feels like we're supposed to compete always in life.
Mm.
So it was very refreshing to kind of hear that, especially from a man talking about like what it's like for him to see women everywhere and he's got daughters and like what his plan is. So very interesting. You can go to different countries and still find the same like toxic behaviors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because as soon as you said that, my first thought was that sounds dystopic.
It does.
Very the
It does.
capital
Yeah.
from Hunger Games.
Right. Like we're I mean, it sounds like late stage capitalism toxicity, right? I mean,
Mhm.
like anyways.
Well, the closest I'm going to get to Korea is
Yeah.
eating my favorite food truck, Smoke and Soul. It's the best Kansas City barbecue. So I'm going to put a little plug there. If you're in the Kansas City area, check out Smoke and Soul. They combine soul food with barbecue, and it's just delightful.
Wait, are we talking SOUL, soul food?
No, it's
E
Korea soul.
Oh,
Seoul. Yeah.
So my
oh,
close friend is Korean and her husband
oh.
is from the Midwest. And so they combined forces. And so you're getting like kimchi on with barbecue.
Oh, wow. I recently started attending a Zen Buddhist temple here in New York City. And I've become a very active member. And every Saturday we do some like meditation and then there's lunch. And the other week, somebody had brought pizza. And of course, everyone was putting, red spicy kimchi right onto the pizza and folding it and putting it in their mouths like it was just, New American Burrito with kimchi in it.
I think we just came up with a business idea. New American burrito and it's pizza with kimchi.
Pizza and
Yeah.
soul.
Pizza
Soul and
and sauce.
pizza.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love it.
Yeah.
They're like, I see this and I will make it my own.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Oh, so
that. I
good.
see it and I will make it my own. I feel like that kind of like I know I'm taking a hard pivot to our conversation, but I think that is like what really needs to happen in like many people's careers. Like we
Mhm.
need to see it and be able to make it our own, especially with everything going on with AI and the economy and everything. Like I think making it your own is the secret sauce. It's the kimchi on the pizza. It's the
Yes.
magic pixie dust, and I think, tying back to what you were talking about, Beth, is like, how do we make it our own? How do we align what genuinely feels like joy, what genuinely feels like heart-led to how we, make a living? And as for SJ, I mean, she's sort of like the living Barbie that
Yes.
amplifies it. I mean, embodies that principle. So SJ, maybe you can walk us through a bit of your journey. Like, what does it mean to be a business Barbie like you? What's that
Interesting.
like?
Ooh.
Yes. If I was a Barbie, what accessories would I come with? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think about this a lot because I've been doing my own thing. I've been doing things my own way for so long. I forget that it is my own way, and that's not just the way everybody's doing it. And one of those examples being I've worked from home since 2015. I left,
Wow.
yeah, like so, and that I was 23 when I did that. Um, I left my like very typical corporate job where I was very high level for very young, and because I didn't understand how I fit into things, and that bugged me. Like a lack of clarity was just unacceptable for me, even at 23. And I remember telling somebody like, I'm working hard. I don't know what I'm doing this for. I refuse to keep doing this. It's making me miserable. So I left and started.
When you were
I
fun
can't remember who said
employed.
it the other day. I think it was my husband was saying, you have done what a lot of people are scared to do, which is I became an IC, an IC being individual contributor. Sorry, I hate acronyms, but I became an executor on all of the things that I wanted to be a leader on. Because my first role was essentially managing a team of like 5 or 6 people, and they were creative. So I managed a graphic designer, I managed a content creator, I managed a videographer, I managed a social media person, and I could like help lead them, but I couldn't do any of their jobs. And that young in my career, nobody really believed that I could take that to a different company. They were like, we don't understand how you've gotten where you're at. We're going to kind of ignore you. So I said, I want to be able to do all of the things that I'm managing. So I started picking up um, like kind of like collecting Pokemon of little life skills, like little career skills. So I got into writing, I got into graphic design, I got into web development, got into public speaking, and I spent a lot of time from my home doing those things. And that has made my life feel very different than most because I have been like business Barbie, but from my very comfortable office in my very comfortable home. And that
You've been
I'm realizing,
homeschooled business
yeah, and
Barbie.
I was homeschooled growing up. And
Homeschool
like,
business Barbie.
so whenever like people had to, go home during COVID, I was like, oh, I've been here. This has already been my thing. And when I started applying for this job, that's a lot of my team is in Seoul, South Korea. They're like, can you handle the time change? And I was like, I used to work with people that lived in Australia. Like, this is fine. And so like my version of like corporate Barbie girl, Barbie has been very different, but I forget that because it feels so right to me. But spending that 1 week in an office was miserable, I will have to say. I didn't have my usual desk. I like to walk on my treadmill. I didn't have access to all my things, and it was really hard for me. So my business Barbie has been very much like kind of refusing to accept that anything has to be done a certain way, and just being like, but I want it to feel good for me. Whenever I last left my last job, one of my coworkers was very nervous for me that I would not find another job because he's like, you live in Missouri. Like the fact that you had a job out of San Francisco was kind of an anomaly anyway. He's like, I was worried you would not find another job. And I was like, joke's on you. I found one that was even more global. So I'm very much have kind of just lived by like, the rules aren't for me, which makes me and Beth's relationship very spicy, I think. Um,
On your wedding day, the motto of the day was nothing matters. Rules
no, no,
don't
no,
matter. We get to make up
no.
our rules. It wasn't
The
nothing matters.
rules
It
don't
was
matter. The
rules don't
rules don't
matter
matter.
because she very
Um,
much was doing her own thing and is going through a season where that was hard for you and you've really had to grow in that and you have just expounded, just exploded in your life with rules don't matter. Sarah, SJ, whatever you call yourself, is doing it her way.
well, and when I found my way back to Jamie, it was basically like I feel like I'd kind of lost touch with that.
Mm.
And I had been in a environment for a while where I was trying to be liked. And I had kind of expanded beyond my comfort zone so many times, I'd kind of forgotten like who I was when I started. And so when I part of the reason I picked Jamie as because Jamie as my executive coach, because there are lots out there, was her whole thing. There was somewhere on her website, it was like, you're tired of like pretending to be somebody else, or like you want to feel like your voice matters without like losing sight of who you are. And I was like, yes, like I don't even know who I am anymore. Besides somebody who's just trying to be liked very, very hard. And fun fact, trying to be liked doesn't make you very likable. And so when I joined Jamie, I was just like, I don't even know who I am. And it didn't take her long to be like, what? This, she noticed, she called out a lot of misalignments pretty early for me. She's like, it sounds like you're not somebody who's been scared, but you feel quite scared now. And you're not somebody who, cares what people think, but you're really caring what people think here. And it was a lot of like finding my way back to my roots of doing things differently, and being comfortable with that. And that's kind of how I've arrived at my like very strange business Barbie.
Objectively, like as your sister watching you go through this, I feel like an executive coach you would think would make a business Barbie stronger and I don't know, a little bit more intense, like you're really beefing up somehow. But I feel like it's made you softer and like more at peace with yourself. And in that, you've been stronger. So like you seem less anxious and like you're trying to fill boxes with stuff you don't know how to find, as opposed to you feel more settled. Feel like you've been more settled in who you are, which was not what I thought would come from executive coaching. So that was very cool to watch happen.
A lot of
Thank
executive
you.
coach, a lot of executive coach say do more. They're like, do more. Make better to-do lists. And Jamie doesn't do that. Now we're just going to talk about how great Jamie is. Jamie Jamie doesn't do that. Jamie doesn't tell you do more, be more, which is what
Mm-mm.
women get a lot. A lot of our self-help books are do more, be more. And I was so tired. And Jamie said, in the number of times Jamie has said, I'm not going to fight with you, which I love because I love fighting. I'm not going to fight with you. Or like, let's just try talking slower, which no one has ever successfully gotten me to do that before, Jamie. Like she literally was like, "Can you just say those words?" And then the last one being like, "Well, let's just take a minute and feel it in our bodies." And those are not the things I think people expect to hear from an executive coach, but it's like trying to find that inner knowing, that inner peace, lowering the frantic energy, and from that comes a lot more clarity. Like we could spend 3 hours talking through tactics and strategies, but what Jamie and I usually do in about 30 minutes is just notice the space between my wrist and my elbow.
This is a
And
real thing that we do.
yes,
This
yes,
is a technique out of Open Focus Brain written by Dr. Les Femi. So there's science behind it.
so much
And
science.
and I love that he also was a Zen Buddhist, so it was sort of rooted in this ancient tradition of meditation, mindfulness. And what it
Mm.
does is it changes your state of brain. So you go from high frequency beta waves in your brain, which is like that very uh, like hectic state of mind,
Mm-hmm.
to synchronous alpha waves, which is associated with with a calm creative state of mind, which Beth is an expert of because she's also a toy expert. I mean, and I think the best toys would probably bring about that sort of um, present but joyful, engaged state of mind. So that's what we
Mhm.
do. So when
Yeah, yeah.
thank
She
you
was
so
like,
much.
yeah. I think tech does that fall under the hypnosis part of your work?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, this is
So
something that we learned in hypnosis training. Yes.
another thing I liked about Jamie is she offered like included hypnosis, which I think some people were like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's going to be amazing." But she has me like notice spaces on my body, and by the time I come out of that, she goes, "Well, like, what do you know?" And I will tell her, and I don't know if this is everyone's experience, but just getting me to slow down and access those waves, I'll be like, "I know exactly what I need to do." And I'll tell her, and then she'll be like, "Great, what's your first step?" And then we'll figure out my step, and then we move on. Like that, the number of times that's been our session has been like frantic, fear, scared. Okay, but what do you know, SJ?
So
And she
she's
just
shutting down your
holds.
amygdala. She's saying, calm, take a break, amygdala. Let the rest of the brain have a say in something here.
Yeah, and she stops all of it. She's like she slows it all down. She holds the space. She walks me through something that I hate doing on my own. Like I'm like vibrating with energy, and she slows me down, and I find the solution. And then usually we do go through some kind of like oh, I know how to help you do that thing because I have done this with another client, or like, here's some hot tips, or like, can I suggest that you do this instead of that? Like, we usually come out with some kind of an action plan, but it's not a usual session that I think people would expect from a coach where you're like, what should I do? And they're like, here's your plan. And it involves like, doing more. It's usually quite a bit less. Like one of my favorite examples is I wanted to give a presentation and I wanted it to be the best presentation that's ever been presented with all this data and all this stuff. And Jamie was like, well, what problem are you solving? And I was like, all of them. She was like, but whose problems are you solving? Like, what problems do they have? And it ended up turning into like, ended up making a plan to talk to two people, and I ended up making a very collaborative presentation that was like, at the end, my boss was like, oh my gosh, SJ, like that's not at all what I expected, but it was what we needed. And so like that pause for clarity is very uncomfortable, I think specifically for women,
Hmm.
because we never have like we're not supposed to stop.
Or we feel like we have to fight for our voice to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was very much like give your own voice space. So that's my like a big part of that, Beth, when you say like I seem more calm, it's because I've spent a lot more time in that calm state,
Hmm.
instead of just trying to do and be and schedule. And, I just feel like every bit of advice is like hire a cleaner and make better to-do lists and get up earlier. And Jamie's like, screw all of that.
Jamie's like, do you
Yes.
see this little gem inside of you? Do you see the gem? And you're like, I don't see the gem. I'm too busy looking at this other question. There's a gem inside of you. Look, I found it. And it's like Jamie can see that. And so she's like, draw your attention to the gem. What's inside of Sarah? And then it comes out and it's beautiful.
She does.
Beth, were you in our sessions?
Oh
Oh,
no, I'm
can
just a
I
witch.
tell can I tell the story of how Jamie made me cry at our last session, Beth? I don't think I've told you this, and I might cry again.
Please do.
Um, I asked for permission, not waiting for the response. I she we've been dealing with the fact that I feel this like crushing pressure of ambition in myself,
Yeah.
and how to like manage that and nurture it and also like not be crushed by it. And we were trying to create visuals for it, and she was like, "What does it look like?" And she's trying to help me like figure out like what it would look like if I gathered up these parts of me and put them in a basket.
Mm.
And she was like, "What's it feel like?" And I was like, "It feels heavy and like it's got a lot of forward motion and it's pushing me and like, but I tend to use like more negative words when I talk about my ambition." And she was like, "Does it feel like a little red go-kart?" And because she had seen, oh
Aw.
my goodness, she had seen that I bought my sons a little red go-kart when I got my new job. And I was like, I'm a little red go-kart.
Oh, straight to
And
the heart.
and I
Oh.
was like, did you do that on purpose,
She
Jamie?
grabbed
But
her
it did,
arrow from her quiver and just shot it straight to
right in
the
the heart.
heart.
But she did. She helped me like kind of reframe my ambition, which in our like evangelical, very Christian upbringing, like girls and women aren't supposed to have that. It's kind of an embarrassing thing. And to reframe it as something fun and pretty and shiny and fast and not something scary and bad that was one of our like, oh, big
Oh, I
moments.
love that. That's
Thank
She
you
so
got me,
so
good.
Beth.
much. I just have gratitude because every time you talk about this Jamie, I'm like, who's this Jamie?
You
She
should
sounds
really sign
great.
up. She does free consultants. If you want to like spend an hour with her, she's really great. She won't pressure you.
And I just want to say I have like tremendous respect for both of you and any woman who has a job and has children, any mother, because I'm the second daughter of a single mom, in
Oh, wow.
America who still speaks broken English. She's an immigrant, and yeah, I just taught her how to use ChatGPT to translate things from English to Korean, so she doesn't have to rely on other people. It is a
Oh,
game
life
changer,
changing. Yes.
life changing.
Yes.
But I grew up, a little bit mad at my mom
Hmm.
because she was working so much. But then I
Yeah.
got into the working world and my respect just exponentially grew because now I realize, holy shit, she was dealing with so much, right?
Hmm.
Paying the bills, rent, dealing with like three kids, and making money, and dealing with, the workplace politics or whatever. I mean, I'm like, I have just endless amount of respect for any working mother. I'm not a mother myself, but I know Beth and SJ, you both are mothers. So I'm curious, do you want to tell us a little bit about, you know, yes, maybe I'm tugging at your heartstrings a little bit here, but what does it mean to be a provider? What does it mean to be a woman, a working mother, and also somebody who provides?
Sarah is going to probably have a strong answer for this because she is
Yeah.
the main provider in their home. I am supplementary in my home. Still needed. We would
But
have to
still
move if I
providing.
didn't.
I
Still
hate it when you
providing.
say supplementary. I hate it when you say that because
I know
Beth,
that.
Beth, because you
I
can't not
say
have a job. And that doesn't
I
make it
can't.
supplementary. It makes it essential.
That's
But I'm
true.
I'm so thankful for my husband's job. Not because he's a man and he makes money for me, but because he's worked really hard. And I met
Yeah.
him when he was working at a bank and a grocery store. And so I
Mhm.
see him as a person that has worked really hard, and I'm so proud of him. That he really does work hard to keep getting higher and higher jobs, whatever. So he's put in the work. So it's not just because he's a dude, it's because he's a hard worker. Um, but for myself, I say supplemental because I'm like, I have the luxury, not everybody does, to not have to continue to grow my paycheck and grow it and grow it and grow it. And I'm thankful for that. So it comes from a point of gratitude, but I appreciate the protection of like, hey, I matter. I do matter. We'd have to move if I didn't have a job. I don't want to do that. Anyway, but for being a mom, I have two daughters. So Sarah's going to have the two sons version of this. I have the two daughters version of this. And I was raised not knowing that I had, fire inside my voice. Um, and I want to raise my daughters to believe that they can breathe fire. And we joke that sometimes that means the fire is going to come at me, but that's okay. We will learn how to navigate that and manage it. And them seeing me work, I feel like is very important. Seeing me help people, seeing me dislike my coworkers, seeing me struggle to find an answer to something, seeing me give my husband career advice, seeing me as a fully functioning human is so important. They also see me playing toys with them, but they've seen me do all of these things, and I want that for them because their biggest role model right now in their life, other than me, is their teachers, and they want to be teachers when they grow up, and I love that for them. But I know that's not always going to be the case. That's just who they have the best experiences with. And they've seen me sitting at a desk typing. And so one of my daughters really wants to sit at a desk typing. She actually really just wants to figure out how to hack into computers, and that's a whole other concern. But um, them seeing me work hard in a variety of ways, although my resume looks to me like a hodgepodge of things, it's provided my daughters seeing me do so many different things, and knowing also that they're not stuck in one career. They can sit at a computer and push buttons as their job, or they can go sit in a room and talk with people, or they can stand in front of people and talk with them. They can travel to different countries. It can look like whatever they want it to. So when you ask them what they want to do, they usually provide two answers. I want to do this and I want to do this, because we've
Mm.
really emphasized how important it is that you're not just going to grow up and be a thing. You might be that thing and also do this other thing or turn this into something else. So lots of conversations, but that for me has been the provision that I provided other than monetary. I also am providing them, and my best, a role model, somebody that they can grow and learn from.
Love it. I love it. I was just thinking about how if they do want to become business Barbies or any kind of, female whatever. I'm sorry, I can't think of the better analogy here.
Leader. Yeah,
But they can have endless outfits. They can have endless amount
absolutely.
of,
Uh-huh.
choices. So they can be this and that. I love that. Thank you so much. What about
Absolutely.
you, SJ?
My boys are still little and don't understand what I do. All they know is that I go into work and in my office. And it's my favorite thing is they think their dad's job is the coolest because he's the mayor. But it's like mostly a volunteer position. We love it, we value it, but like that's not where our money's coming from. But like that's the job they see that's so cool. And I'm like, I can't wait for the day when they look back and they're like, oh, mom was making all of the money. Like, because their little brains can't do it. But I really love that my sons get to see me being like a nurturing, fun mom who also has to go to meetings. And they also see their dad being like a whole person who's doing dishes and wiping their butts. And then he's also going to meetings, and seeing how like hard work can be enjoyable. One thing I've loved about becoming a mom, because I worked pre-mom, post-mom, and I became a more efficient worker when I had kids.
Oh,
Like I
hell
know
yeah.
people say like, "Oh, you have kids, like you're gonna have less time for work." No, no, no. I am not gonna dick around with anything that's non-essential because I want to get back to my kids. Like when you don't have kids, there's a little extra space that you can expand. And when you have kids and you want to get back to them, which that's important. If you
Or
want to get
away
back to
from
them,
them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to get away from them as much as you want to get back to them, which
Yes.
is a little confusing, but just as important to be like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be at my desk. I love working. Okay, I gotta go.
No, I used to tell Cole, like a marker for me is if I'm doing well in life is I am just excited to start my day at work as I am to end my day at work.
Hmm.
That means that I'm excited for my work, but I'm also excited to be done with it. But I don't mess around with like late night meetings just because I'd rather be with my kids. And so all of that has been really fun for me to see them like try to process what it is that I'm doing. Like I can't wait till they're older and they can kind of share back to me what on earth they thought I was doing. Because I think there was one day John saw me typing and he goes, "Are you playing it like the piano?" And I was like, "It does kind of look like that." And then one
This is
day I
an
did it.
angry song.
I know. One day he goes, "Mom, did you get all the buttons?" And I was like, so he's trying to figure it out, like what it is that I'm doing. And it's very cute. So it's been, for me though, it's just been very much like I just want my sons to see people in all their capacities. All of their doctors are women. They've got two aunts that are doctors. So like they've got I almost feel like we're a little bit in Barbie Land in my house because the women are in charge. But it's been fun.
And Ken's get to be, I forget I mean, that was the best
He did
song in the
Beach.
Barbie. Ken
Beach,
did Beach, and
yes.
in Barbie the movie, Ken had the best song and dance. So
He
I
really did. He really
Totally
did.
undervalued.
I will say my husband has a I am a Ken shirt.
I'm
Yeah.
enough.
He does. Or hat. He has a hat that says I am Ken. Oh, love it.
Thank you so much for coming on to Risky Conversations. Is there anything else that we haven't yet addressed that you want listeners to know, either about misinformed or anything else?
Hmm.
Hmm. I mean,
I can't think of it. We'll fill
yes,
a gap of conversation. We'll just keep talking, but I can't think of anything.
no, I mean, I more than anything, if there's, I mean, I just want people to, as they're listening to this, one of the best things you can do as a woman is to seek other women's guidance, especially women that know more than you. Like self-help books are great, podcasts are great, but there is something about sitting in front of another person who's looking at you, that makes a big difference in your life. And that's why like sisters are really great, but also executive coaches and,
Hmm.
tribes and healers and all that. I think that used to be more baked into our society and it's not now.
Hmm.
Now we have to kind of seek it out. But I think that's why podcasts like this and podcasts like Misinformed are quite healing. It's because it makes us feel like we're not quite just alone taking in information. But if at any point in time you're just try to get in front of another woman.
And
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Feeling like you've got a sisterhood, even if you don't actually have biological sisters, it means nothing. Just be with other women or people that can see the gem inside of you or can cheer you on or
Or can
whatever.
make you cry about a little red go-kart.
that's
So
in the
good.
basket.
That's in the basket. It's so
Yeah.
sweet.
So if anyone wants to book a free consultation with me, just come on over to
Woo.
jamieleecoach.com/apply. You can read all the details. I have sliding scale offers, and you could just book a free consultation right there. Where can people go to download Misinformed?
Right now, it's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. At some point, I need to do something else with it.
We need
Um,
to have our own TikTok or Instagram or something. Right now, we're kind
something.
of piggybacking off of Sarah's TikTok.
The marketer in me is cringing because I've not done the marketing, but I've truly just been focused on like enjoying the process of it all. So yeah, for right now, just check out Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts for Misinformed, Missi, and then informed. I didn't need to do all that.
Because
It's
Yeah,
we're
spelled
either
incorrectly.
we're either misinformed about something or we're a little misinformed. So that's kind of
okay.
the
I
hook
will
there.
link to all of that in the show notes. And can I add your Instagram or your if you have like can I add some
Yeah,
social in there
yeah.
too?
Add, yeah. You can add it in the links. I'll send it to you.
Excellent. Thank you.
All
We'll
right.
talk soon.
Thanks. Bye,
Thank
Jamie.
you, Jamie.